Welcome, Ms Legalista here. Thank you for joining. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the main reason that seniors fall victim to romance scammers.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining. I already said that, I think. If not, there you go. I just said it again. I feel like I need to start having some background music in the opening just so that I can get my own, I don't know, my own vibe right. Do you know what I mean? So that I come to this with the right vibe. I feel like I'm missing the vibe. It's late in the afternoon and I'm starting to get a little worn. I get up early. So by now it's kind of feeling like I need a nap. I want to talk about seniors. I'm actually going to do another video on scams for young people because there's a difference here. I'm actually going to talk about that in a video too. But older people tend to lose more money, mostly because they have more of it. But younger people tend to fall victim more often. So there you go. At both ends of the spectrum, we need to be watching out for both groups. In this video, though, I'm going to be talking about our seniors and why I'm constantly seeing them in the news when it comes to online romance scams. And you guys, there is one reason. There is one reason. I'm going to bring it up so that you can see what that one reason is. This is from Melbourne Investigations. This is actually out of Australia, but there are other sources out here too that say the very same thing. Loneliness is a factor and why smart people sometimes fall for online romance scams. Many people like interacting with others online. It makes them feel safe and in control when compared to some real life connections. Scammers play into this by claiming to share similar likes and interests with their victims. This is one of the main reasons people are looking for connections. When people get older, a lot of the people that they grew up with, that they've known throughout their lives, even their partners, they die, they move, they have to sometimes go to facilities to be taken care of. And so they aren't around like we had all of those friends around us when we were much younger. So, yeah, it's definitely a different time in life. And you'll see people now who are just engaging more online. That's a thing. It is a thing. And especially after the pandemic when we really couldn't go anywhere anyway, right? We were all stuck inside for some moments in time. And that wasn't just stressful for our seniors, that was stressful for everyone. And so, yes, we had seniors who were definitely in these spaces. So, there is this New York Times article that I really want to talk about that came out a while back. Retirees are losing their life savings to romance scams. Here's what to know. Con artists are using dating sites to prey on lonely people, particularly older ones, in a pattern that accelerated during the isolation of the pandemic, federal data shows. Okay, so this is what we expect, right? This is the picture that we expect to see when people get older. It's sort of like, oh, we're going to retire, we're going to be together, we're going to have some grandkids, we're going to all be happy. Like, there is this image that we have in our heads, right? Our house is going to be paid off. We won't have to get up at 5:30 and 6 in the morning to go to work. We'll be retired. We'll be able to take vacations, visit the grandkids, and then you hit those numbers, those ages, and you go, okay, wait a second. They didn't tell me that there were going to be some health issues. They didn't tell me that there was going to be, a downturn in the economy, and maybe I got to get a little part-time job. They didn't tell me there was going to be a pandemic, and I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the social things I thought I was going to be able to do. You know, yeah, they didn't tell you any of those things. We have this picture, like this picture. We're going to start off young, like the younger couple here together, and we're going to grow old together. We're going to have this great retirement. And then what happens is, one of the partners passes and then one is left alone. So it says in this article, it says con artists are using dating apps to prey on lonely people, and older ones are a growing target. In a pattern that accelerated during the isolation of the coronavirus pandemic, romance scams claimed, look at this, 139 million from adults age 60 and older in 2020. That's up from 84 million the year before. You guys, they were like making a whole nother like $50 million with romance scams, people looking for connections, people who were lonely and fell victim to this. So this is definitely really tragic here. There was this one person in the article that they were talking about, and I think this is what really sort of seals the envelope in terms of what's really going on here. It says, and this was this one lady who was a victim, Ms. Kleinhardt. It says the authorities told Ms. Kleinhardt that there was nothing they could do after she sent $39,000 in gift cards to a man who identified himself online as Tony. And what she says, it's in quotes here. It says, the loss that hurts the most is losing his love. Like it wasn't the money. She's not saying it's the money. He took my money. A lot of times people will say, yeah, it's the money too. And I'm sure it is the money too for her. But she says the loss that hurts the most, the most. What is the loss that's the priority for her? What is the loss that bothered her the most? It was losing his love, realizing here she was. She thought she was in this relationship. Scam, scam, scam. He was just taking her money. And here's the thing. In many cases, money can be replaced. You may be able to get another job. I'm not saying it's going to be easy and it might not happen. You might not get it all, but you might be able to replace it. You might be able to get another job. You might be able to build that income back up. You might be able to somehow save that down payment that just got wired to some scam artist. But the love that you had for somebody, that's what she's saying. She's saying the loss that hurts the most is losing his love. Let that one sink in, because that's the one I think is really tragic. So let me go back and just sort of wrap this conversation up. So where do we go from here if we know that that's the thing? So once we realize that, okay, maybe it's not so much awareness, because look at me, because I'm up here talking about this a lot now. And there are attorneys general all across the country who are talking about this. The FTC, Federal Trade Commission, is talking about this. The Better Business Bureau, AARP. There are plenty of organizations all across the country that are talking about this, raising awareness and highlighting this. So if that is the case, why are we still seeing this? Because education is not enough. There is the whole other side of the coin that says we aren't doing anything about the loneliness. That is the piece. People are still looking for connections. So what we should be doing is focusing on making sure that these social media platforms, that these dating apps and dating sites, that these social connection platforms that people are using, that those places have enhanced security features so that it's less likely that scams take place, because people are still going to go there. People are still going to go there. And right now, the way the law is set up, if people post something up there, it's not the responsibility of some online platform if something goes wrong. It's the responsibility of the person who put it up there. So if there's a fraudster up there, the law says you go after the fraudster, not the online platform. Maybe there's a need to change that, but we just recently had some cases to go to the Supreme Court. And that, I can tell you, is not going to change after what happened. So we need to have more education around those platforms, what to look for when you're on the platforms. Don't go off the platforms. Don't share certain kinds of information. Like, it needs to be a part of that culture and not some sort of separate site or separate organization or separate government entity that's telling you, hey, hey, you, remember when you get ready to go over to that dating app, I just want to remind you that if they start asking to send them money, if they say they're retired in the military and they're overseas, if they say they're a construction worker, they need, I don't know, passport, money for customs or something for some stuff they're sending back, your red flag should go off. But you can't do all of that off the platform or off the app. It has to be integrated into the system somehow. And since we know that's not really taking place, we now realize that maybe we have to step up to the plate, right? If we've got seniors, if we've got elders who are now in situations where there are not a lot of family members around, remember, if they've had kids, those kids may have moved to other states and other countries. Organizations that they used to be a part of might not be as active now. Maybe they fell off after COVID. Maybe some of our seniors don't drive anymore. And so they're now reliant on someone else to help them get to some of these social events and activities that they used to be a part of and used to go to all the time. So if we have aunties and uncles, great aunties, great uncles, grandmas, great grandmas still around us, then we need to be looking out for them, checking in on them. Even fellow church members or fellow organizational members who don't show up like they used to. We're going to have to start paying more attention to them. Otherwise, they're going to continue to fall victim to these scams. So that's the thing to do. I don't know how else to say it. We can continue to educate, continue to raise awareness, but in the end, we're all going to have to take a role in this together. It's going to be incumbent on us until some of those laws are changed or until some of those platforms and apps step up and decide to do something different. Until they say, hey, we're going to lay down the law here. We're actually going to do some more research to make sure that legitimate people are actually using the site. We're going to have a much more thorough vetting process. And it may take you a month before you get approved. But at least at that point, you know that there have been additional hoops that a person had to jump through. Now, I'm not saying that that doesn't mean some scam artists are not going to slip through, because that definitely will probably take place. I remember I've said this several times now. I say it in every video. Scam artists and fraudsters are working 24/7. They don't take vacations, holidays, or weekends off. So even if a platform were to set up something new, some additional hoops to jump through, there are probably still going to be a few that get through. But at least they would be trying. At least you would know, okay, well, this app is probably a little bit more secure than this app when it comes to letting just any and everybody on. Because, most of the time they just want the membership money. It's like, hey, pay the membership money and you're good. But there needs to be a level of accountability with them also. So that's it. Hope that gives you a little bit more information about this. Start reaching out to your aunties and your uncles and the seniors in your life. Educate and inform them about what to be looking for when they're interested in finding a new partner, new friends, new relationships. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Peace.